And so I had to make the decision.
Your dream of coming back to Detroit and running for political office had never materialized because the timing was just always off.
Always off. You know, at about that time, you began to read about George Bush, the junior, and one of the admonitions that his father had given him was, listen, before you run for political office, you've got to secure the financial stability of your family. Well, I had not done that, and so I was going to have to do it in the opposite direction. And so, you know, much to the consternation of my colleagues and a lot of my constituents, I had to exit the court for personal reasons. And
do you think you would have been reelected Chief Justice if you wanted to
yes,
for a second term?
No question.
Yeah. So,
no
but you decided for that reason to exit, and of course that gave Governor Engler an appointment. And of course, a lot of Democrats were unhappy with that.
Exactly.
Because that gave the Republicans this huge 5-2 majority that they basically had most of the last dozen years.
Right.
Yeah. Well, what's your opinion? Has the court veered off the rails here with this heavy Republican majority compared to the more balanced court that was in existence while you were there for 8 years?
You know, while I disagree with a lot of the opinions that the court has written, that's not the troubling factor for me. What has always been troubling to me has been, it's not going on now, but there was a period where the court had turned itself into a serious spectacle with all of the nutty infighting that was going on. It was deeply disturbing to me to see the institution held up as a caricature of itself. And I was disappointed in everybody's collective behavior. The court should never come to the attention of the public in that way. I'm very, 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 very glad that all of that seems to have come to an end and sanity seems to have prevailed. The opinions of the court are the opinions of the court. The people of the state of Michigan will manage through opinions that you disagree with, but at least are thoughtfully reasoned. So, I mean, while I would have decided a bunch of these cases differently, the results of these cases, while they're troubling to me as a lawyer and as a citizen, are not indicative of the failure of the court. The court's the court. What I'm relieved at is that the court has returned to the quiet dignity that an institution like that must have in order to function at a high level. That now being the case, we'll figure it out.
You have gone on to a very successful post-court career in health care and health law. Do you ever look back at the days you served on the court with any regret? Do you think everything has turned out pretty well as you might have hoped for when you exited public service at the end of 1998?
You know, my response to that is that, man, I have been so profoundly blessed that I've been going to church with a lot more regularity than I did in the past, just to make sure that God knows I'm grateful, number one. Number two, being a member of the healthcare community allows me also to be a public servant. And so, you know, Bill, you've been doing this public service thing. It really is like a religious calling. You find yourself being glad not to be far away from doing something consequential that affects the lives of people. And so I'm really grateful to be in the middle of the fury that I'm a part of, grateful to be delivering this kind of public service. The career that I've had could not have turned out to me any better. I was in conversation one time with Bill Schuette, and he was talking with me about being the number 2 person to Mike Duggan, and said to me, you know, Conrad, you wanted to be the mayor of Detroit, you didn't get there, now you're the number 2 person of the DMC, don't you miss being in charge? I said, man, you know, you need to understand, I'm one of the best number 2s that ever got placed on the face of the earth, and I take a lot of pride and joy in that. I've been given great leadership opportunity. President of Sinai Grace Hospital, the largest hospital in the DMC system, had a really, really, really successful run there. And I say to people all the time, the Lord's let me go to the mountaintop twice. And you know, so I'm really, really happy about that. And then the other thing is that as I look back on it, on the court, if you care to compromise, you can. I can always, Bill, decide to sign your opinion. And I can go to you and I can say, Justice Ballinger, if you will change sentence 5 in paragraph 3, I'll sign the opinion. So you and I compromise over language. Other days, I might say, you know what, Justice Ballinger, I completely and totally disagree. I can't sign your opinion. I'm going to write my own. And and you say, God love you, and go off and do a good job. It's the highest form of public service there is, because I choose the result that I want to associate myself with. As a legislator or as an executive, the expectation is that you will compromise. As a member of the court, the expectation is that you will always do only that which you believe is intellectually honest. Man, that's the greatest. I mean, who else in political life is that the standard against which they are judged? You're only going to do what you believe to be intellectually honest. I've had the greatest opportunity there is, you know, and very grateful for it, and pleased.
Justice Mallett.
Thank you, my friend.
I hope this is the standard for a good interview. I think it was. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.